PGA European Tour is brought to you by Volvo.
He does that with his hands, too. Yeah.
We're on.
Okay. This is the one that's on TV, and this is what?
Live pictures.
But these two should be the same.
Welcome to the Volvo Masters at Valderrama, the 9th Volvo Masters. Just running through the former champions here and their scores yesterday. Of course, some of those players not here, like Sandy Lyon, who didn't get in. Colin Montgomery opening with a 71, the winner of the Order of Merit for a 4th year. Bernhard Langer, 73, holds the course record here, 62. And Alexander Cheka has been playing a lot of his golf in America this season. Poor enough form this time round, a 78 from him. The man who won here on his first venture to Valderrama. It was his 3rd tournament victory of the season. And what a fabulous golf course this is, and a fabulous layout. The golf course of Andalusian, or the golf clubhouse of Andalusian design. Jaime Ortiz Patino is the Bolivian tin magnate who owns this course. And Robert Trent Jones Sr., the man who designed it initially, and then he was brought back to refine some of the holes as Patina looks for excellence and perfection. First round scores, very much like Miss World in reverse order. Wayne Wester, who won at the start of the season. Padraig Harrington from Ireland, the Spanish Open champion. Paul Curry, former Jersey Open champion on 68, but the leader, Stephen Ames, on 67. And you're watching live pictures now from Valderrama in the early stages of day 2. And a look at the 7th hole. Long par 4. Aren't too many holes in this course, if any at all, you could describe as being birdie opportunities, real birdie opportunities. Placement so important on this course. And this is Costantino Rocca at the 7th. And he's found sand, and I'm delighted to say that Paul McGinley has joined me, the Austrian Open champion. And how tough a hole is this one, Paul? They're all pretty tough looking out there.
Yeah, 17 is very difficult. The fairway slopes left to right. It's very difficult to hit your drive, holding it on the fairway. As I say, it slopes left to right, everything falls into the rough on the right, and there you're probably hitting a 4, 5 or 6 iron, depending on how long you are into a relatively small green.
What are the greens like this year compared to last year?
Yeah, they're fast. Obviously, they're always fast here, but they do spike here just as well. There's only 65 players playing here. The greens do spike, there's no doubt about it. And I played early this morning, there's no doubt about it. The greens were better this morning than they will be now.
Darren Clark said yesterday he thought the greens might be a little bit firmer this year. Is he right?
Yeah, I think so, particularly for chipping onto sound wave shots. Not like the 17 yesterday, I had a 70-yard sound waves and played it beautifully, and it pitched in the middle of the green and went over the back. I couldn't believe it.
When you're playing out of the rough, and the rough was quite wet yesterday and wet this morning, does that make it even more difficult to keep the ball in the green?
Yeah, the rough is very difficult. You get some serious flyers on it. Normally I don't get a lot of flyers, and this week I've had some unbelievable flyers.
Jose Caceres. Argentinian with a big family. I think there's 10 of them in all. This course surrounded by court trees, hundreds and hundreds of them, as well as some olive trees. And you're watching Padraig on the 8th. It's par 4. He let a couple of tee shots go yesterday at 16 and 18. Knocked them well right and was chipping out sideways. And then spent quite a bit of time in the range with the driver in his hands. He seemed to sort it out. But what a rookie season, Paul, from your countryman.
Oh, fantastic. He just lives up the road from me. We were born within a mile of each other. We went to the same school and played for the same football team. It's amazing that two of us come out to be in the tour and both of us in the top 20 in the money list. So it's good for our school and for the area where we're from.
I think a few of the lads are out for Apollo Week. We're told that their target for the year should be a place in the Volvo Masters, and it's amazing that so many of them have come through.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic year for rookies. Thomas Bjorn, Raymond Russell, and particularly Paul Harrington. The three of them are all here this week with a shout of being Rookie of the Year, and they've all won over £250,000, which is magnificent in your first year.
Costantino Rocca. I reckon I could tell you what score Costantino has without seeing the ball,
Yeah.
just by watching his face.
Latino temperament. He's a really nice fella, really nice to play with too.
Wayne Westner hasn't played in Europe the latter part of the season very much. Hand off the club immediately.
This is a rematch of the Dunhill Cup match last week, 2 weeks ago, when Paddy played against Westner, and Westner hit a magnificent shot on 17 to 2 feet to beat him by a shot.
Yes, that must have been a frustrating day, because it looked like you had things pretty well, not wrapped up, but it was looking good for a long time.
Yeah, it was. It was very disappointing. We all played well. It's just the run of the ball went against us when we needed it, and they got the run of the ball at the right time, and of course Westner shot, and then Goosen beat Darren on the 19th hole as well, holding a 25-footer after Darren just missing. So it was just the ball ran against us. That's all really.
One of those things. John van de Velde shooting 70 earlier on this morning with an eagle at the 17th, and that's the first eagle at that hole this week. John van de Velde, who almost won at Loch Lomond. Thomas Bjorn put together a superb final round, obviously learning from the Scandinavian Masters when he led after 3 and fell away a bit. So it was actually Padraig Harrington who, when asked about the Spanish Open win, what he'd learned from winning, he said, nothing you learn from losing. Is he right?
Yeah. Losing hurts a lot more. You analyse things a lot more when you lose than when you win. When you win, you sort of get taken away in the euphoria of winning, and it's definitely when you lose, that hurts bad, and you start analysing. That's where you really make progress.
So Thomas Bjorn obviously learnt from the Scandinavian and how well he played at Loch Lomond. And another great course, Loch Lomond. Fantastic. Were you impressed?
Yeah, very, very impressed. It was excellent. Probably one of the top 2. We've played some very good courses this year. We've played a few that haven't been so good too, but we've played some very good courses. And Loch Lomond was, I think Faldo rated it one of the best courses in the world, which is fantastic for a course that's only a couple of years old.
I heard that Ronan Rafferty joined the club at the end of the week. He was so impressed that he paid his membership fee. I don't know if that's true or not.
Well, I believe they're doing a very good deal. If you live outside the Glasgow area, they'll do a good deal for you.
Harrington usually with the silky short game. He played a few clumsy pitch shots yesterday, which cost him.
They might look clumsy, Mark, but it's very difficult out of that rough. The ball sits down or sits up, and it's very hard to get consistent shots. And as you said earlier, the greens are firm, and if the greens were soft, you can flop it up in the air, up more or less up to the hole, and it'll stop. But with the greens being firm too, it makes it very tricky around the greens.
Lee Westwood at the 12th, the hole that I think has been designed by the Spanish Inquisition, probably. And Seve took 6 here yesterday. Westwood, the man who held that outrageous putt in the playoff with Russell Clayton to win his first tour event. And another player who's come rocketing through this season, a man who always had a lot of potential.
Yeah, he started the season poorly, but come April, May, he really sort of caught fire, and he had a string of top 10s in a row, and then he finished it off with that big win in the Scandinavian Masters. He's had a magnificent year he was outside the top 50 last year. He didn't play here last year, and he'll definitely probably be the most improved player of the year this year.
Yes, the very fact that you're here at all, testimony to the quality of your golf all season. Anybody who's here, well, most people are here.
This is a lot of people gauge their season of being successful or not, whether they reach Valderrama or not. And playing the Volvo Masters, this is our creme de la creme, if you want to call it that.
On the 10th, the pin at the 10th, 22 from the front, 5 paces on from the right. This morning, a lot of players misjudging their second shot to this hole and going through the back, and from there, pretty tough to get down in 2.
Very difficult. It's a very slopey green from back to front. He's putting straight uphill there. Get up. Yep.
Lovely putt from Jose Caceres, and that's what you want here, I suppose. Uphill putts, if at all possible. Yeah,
that's the greens are so small. You see, it's very difficult to leave your iron shots on the right side of the pin all the time. That's the difficulty of Valderrama. The greens being small and firm, and trying to always leave yourself. At least Augusta's are pretty similar greens insofar as you got to be on the right side of the pin. But at least in Augusta, the greens seem to be very big. Over here, the greens are very small, and that's what makes the iron shot so important.
Alexander Checo, were you playing with Checo this morning?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, I thought I'd noticed you out there with him.
He'd an up and down round.
As we can see from that, a 73 for the defending champion.
Thomas Bjorn, I played with him yesterday. He's just ahead of Padraig, I think, in the rookie of the season rankings at the moment. So it's down between the two of them, plus Raymond Russell's an outside chance of getting it. It all depends on how they all play this week.
He's hoiked that one away a little bit left. I believe, well, I know that the Henry Cotton Rookie of the Year award is actually selected by committee. It's not on order of merit money, although that obviously will contribute to it. Who do you think, not being biased, the Irish, of course, should get it? Maybe that's an unfair question with an Irishman in the
I'm going to be biased. I think Padraig. I have to say that. No, but I really think he did too. He performed very well in the British Open as well, and he's performed well in big tournaments. And maybe because he's Irish and I know his record more than the other two guys. But Raymond Russell has had a fantastic year too, and Thomas probably had the biggest win of the three of them insofar as he won in Loch Lomond, which is probably the strongest field of the 3 tournaments that the 3 of them won in. So, as you say, it comes down to the selection committee too, but I think whoever leads in the money list is going to be the favourite, I say.
Well, if you look at the top 10s consistency, Padraig has 9 top 10s to Bjorn's 6 and Russell's 6, so he seems to have shown a little bit more general consistency.
Yeah, I think he's had a fabulous year, and I won't be surprised to see him getting that award.
Top of the leaderboard here at the Volvo Masters, round 2, as we watch Frank Nobilo. Paul Curry has moved to 4 under after 5 holes and joins Stephen Ames on that total. Both players having played 5. Jose Caceres, thanks to that birdie at the 10th hole, moving into 3rd spot, just 1 shot behind. And then Andrew Olcorn, who had a magnificent 66 this morning, the best round of the week so far, is at 2 under with Rocca and Paul Lowry. And it's Carl Sunison, the man with the Scandinavian sounding name, but he is from Spain. And Roger Chapman 1 under par. Frank Nobilo is level, so very much in the hunt. And there's Carl Sunison, the great Spanish Open. Of course, the Ryder Cup being held here at Valderrama next year, Paul, and naturally, Spanish captain, they'll want a Spanish player on the team. Can you see one coming through, the Jimenez or Martin?
I think Jimenez plays Valderrama very well too. I wouldn't be surprised, all things being equal, if Seve doesn't have to use his picks, that he might pick him to play. He's a guy who makes an awful lot of birdies, and he's a very courageous player, and he lives down here in Malaga, so he knows the place very well. So I would not be surprised at all to see him in the team.
He'd be good at match play too if it came down to the wire, because in 1994 he played 17th in 4-2-3-4.
That was a result, all right. That's such a difficult hole.
What is it?
Rocket 2 shots back, 69 yesterday. Level for his round today. On this 8th hole, now I've walked the back 9 twice, but I haven't seen the front 9 yet. How's this 8th shape up?
Well, this would be looked upon as one of the birdie holes in the front 9. He's hit the ideal tee shot there. It's a very difficult tee shot. Just it's a bad shot after I say that. But he's only going in there with a sand wedge or a wedge. That's why I say it's probably a birdie hole. It's a very difficult tee shot. You've got out of bounds on the right, you've got cork trees on the left. So left and right are obviously not to hit it. You've got to hit it on the fairway, and from there it's only a wedge or a sand wedge. So it's one of the holes you're looking for birdie on the front side. There's not many of them, but that's one of them.
Paul Montgomery. Shoulders sagging slightly. Involved in a trial separation from his coach, not wife, Bill Ferguson. And didn't play that well yesterday, Monty. Did well to return the score that he did. And Bill Ferguson said he reckoned it was probably due to mental tiredness because the job's done for Monty, isn't it, this season?
Yeah, it is. I'm sure Monty's pride more than anything else. He'll be looking to do well here, and particularly get ready for the Ryder Cup next year. But I played a practice with him. He's not playing too good this week. I think Lee Westwood played with him. I spoke to somebody who played with him yesterday, and they said he didn't play so good. So I think he's just struggling a bit with his game this year. Or this week, I mean, not this year. Certainly not this year.
Well, Sunderson getting a cheer out of the Spanish crowd, not surprisingly. Here's Thomas Bjorn, putting cack-handed as he has done since he was a kid. So for a lot of us, that's the last resort, but for him, it's the only thing he's ever known.
If he has one weakness, I think from what the caddies say, and they know more than the players a lot of the times, is his putting. It lets him down a little bit. He's a very strong player. Hits the ball a long way and straight. And obviously he's a good putter too, but you say if he does have a weakness, it's the odd putt that he would miss.
Paul Curry's leading on his own now after 6 holes. 1 shot clear of Jose Caceres, Andrew Oldcorn, Sunison Roca and Ames in 3rd. More live action soon. Per-Ulrik Johansson holding out, the man who won at the K Club, the European Open. And that was a great performance from him on a pretty difficult golf course, Paul, one that you know pretty well.
Yeah, it was. It was in very good condition this year, and the weather wasn't too kind to us, but it played very long, and he had a very strong finish the last day to win.
Hadn't played very well up to that tournament, Johansson, and in fact wasn't going to play. And amazing game, isn't it?
I know. The week before in Loch Lomond, I shared a courtesy car back with him back to the hotel, and he was just saying, he's just lost it. He said he just wants the year to finish, and he wants to get back and practice for next year. And a week later, he wins. You never know in this game, do you?
Amazing. Now Roca shows his face. Yeah, great. I love that. Every shot.
He speaks when he's talking to the ball. He speaks in English all the time. So that's what's funny about him.
Does he say the right words though?
Well, he says a few words.
Looks like big Russell Clayton's putting stroke. Difficult to confuse Russell with anybody else, to be honest.
He's a real happy-go-lucky guy too.
My career would have been finished there if I'd said, "Here comes David Carter." I think I said David's the only player on tour who could get lost behind a stake tree. Another excellent player and a former Challenge Tour winner as we watch Caceres. It seems these days, Paul, that a lot of these guys come through and they're almost tour hardened by the time they get onto tour.
Absolutely. Thomas Bjorn was talking to me about it yesterday. he was talking about winning in Lochloman. You know, he'd won 3 times or 4 times the year before on a challenge tour, and he said it really stood to him when he got in contention.
As soon as not this 12th. Paul, how difficult a hole is this?
Well, I found it easy. I made 2 birdies on it. Yesterday I was having a nightmare and I hit a 2-iron into about 8 feet and hold it. And today I hit a 3-iron into about the same distance and hold it too. So it's probably the most difficult hole on the course. It's a small green, as I say. It's downhill. You're hitting into the wind. You're hitting out towards the ocean. You're hitting into the wind, and it's you can see the ocean there at the top of the picture. It's 212 yards, and it's normally, it ranges from a 1-iron to a 3-iron or a 4-iron. I've hit driver in here in previous years when the wind is really blowing against you. It's a real tough hole.
Is that the Levante or the Poniente wind? Do you know which one it is?
You're testing me now.
The Levante comes from the east and the Poniente comes from the west, apparently, according to what I've been told from experts in the press room. And they say the wind blows at Valderrama 300 days of the year. 50% of the wind from the west, 50% from the east. And yesterday was the Levante, which brings in the fog and the mist, you see.
Right. That was the wind we had. Yeah, that's the prevailing wind then.
Yeah.
Well, the wind that they get most, you say 50-50, but I think that comes more off the ocean. That one be more favourable here, more off the. I've never actually played the course with the wind the other way around. I've never played that 12th hole downwind.
I think this time of year, certainly they get that Levante more than the other one. They are. You can bore your playing partner with that tomorrow. Day 2 of the Volvo Masters from Valderrama. Live coverage on Eurosport. Paul Curry leads, 4 under after 6 holes. Jose Casiri's on his own now in 2nd spot. Old Corn is in the clubhouse after a 66 to follow his 74 of yesterday, and Carl Sunison also 2 under after 11. Rocca 2 under, and Stephen Ames, I'm afraid, has dropped a couple of shots, the overnight leader. He's taken 5 at the 6th.
It's a very difficult hole, the 6th. I don't know if you've got cameras there. It's quite a short hole. It's only a 7-iron, a 6 or a 7-iron. But the green is very slow. You just cannot hit it past the pin there. You've got a treacherous putt down the hill, and I'd say that's what he did. He hit it past the pin, and, or maybe left it short of the pin, and then hit it past in 3-putt or something like that. It's a very, very tricky par 3.
You've got a bit of a battle on your own hands as well, Paul. 13th, I think, at the moment, and the top 15 get into the US Open.
Yeah, it's an important week for me, and fortunately yesterday, everything that could go wrong did go wrong. It was just one of those days you know you have a couple of times a year, and it was just terrible. I felt great. I hit the ball okay, and I seemed to felt like I put it okay, but just one of those days where every time I hit a bad shot, I was penalised, and the ball didn't run for me, and all of a sudden I was just dropping shots. And 78 was a real bad score to have yesterday, and I'm really trying to play catch up now and try to have a damp limitation for the weekend and try to finish as high as I can, and hopefully things will work out for me.
Jose Casiri's out on 33, no bogeys on the card. Andrew Oldcorn had no bogeys in 18 today, and Paul, that is pretty good achievement, I think, around here.
Yeah, it certainly is around Valderrama. Your short game has got to be good because you've got to miss some greens, and as I said earlier, it's very difficult to get up and down on these greens when you do miss them. So it's a superb score that he had. Although Langer shot 62 2 years ago. I played in the game in front of him. It was fantastic.
Yeah, that was an incredible score. I think he's had a 63 at El Saler as well. I mean, another
62, I think he had.
62 in El Saler, so another tough course.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's a tough course, but not as tough as here. Martin Rowley getting in the way there. The caddy, he's the chairman of the Caddies Association. He always knows where the camera is.
He seemed to break dance back out of it again there very sharply. Paul Curry and Stephen Ames. Curry the leader by 1 shot. Paul, is he viewed on the tour as sort of the journeyman variety? Or?
Oh, he's a solid player. I don't think he's been on tour long enough to call him a journeyman. He's won a few times. He's a magnificent putter. That's his game. He's just a very steady player and a super putter. And when he gets it going, he really gets it going. I think he shot 60 in Glen Eagles a couple of years ago.
That's right.
He's when he gets hot, he gets real hot. And I'm not surprised to see him playing well here this week, because it's not a course that really suits the big hitter. It suits the guy who's straight and the guy who puts well and chips well. And I mean, that's more or less Paul's game.
Looking just there at the score of Mr. Wee. I'm not going to pronounce his name totally because I can't. Call him Mr. Wee, as we used to call Mr. Lou in days of yore. And he has 73 today. And Stephen Ames, a good putt from him, trying to repair a bit of damage, having dropped 2 shots at the 6th. And he gets back to 3 under par after 7 holes. So we feel a bit better after that, heading back immediately.
That was a good recovery, because that was a difficult hole of birdie after taking double bogey in the previous hole.
A little bit of variation there from Kusiris. Ian Woosnam ended up putting yesterday with his 1 iron.
Yeah, it was Lee Westwood who played with was it yesterday, he told me. He went to hit an acorn on the car path and missed it, and it was just broke right in front of him. So he put it with a 1 iron. Apparently he put it okay from there on in.
So he missed the acorn with his putter. Never was very good with his putter, was he? It's an air shot with an acorn. Rocca approaching the turn, and another shot that he's let go slightly, well, only slightly right.
Yeah, well, as I say, that fairway slopes left to right. It's very easy to let the ball go right there. But having said that, if he's going to miss it, he's missed it in the right position, because the green also slopes left to right. So he's got a bunker shot, a relatively easy bunker shot. He's come up against the hill, and it's not a long bunker shot. I'd be surprised if he didn't get down in 2. He's on the right side of the green to miss, and this is so important with playing Valderrama. If you do miss a green, you've got to leave it on the right side to give yourself a chance to get it up and down.
The series, he'll be disappointed with that, failing to get down in 2 from not too far away. And he drops to 2 under par after 11 holes, 71 yesterday. Kusiris, when he made a bit of money, I think last year, he bought a car. Have you heard this story? He bought a car. And whenever he went home to Argentina, he always got the bus back to his house and then the bus back to the airport. So he bought a car and he went to the house, fine. But he didn't know how to get from the house back on the bus route to where he had come from. So he followed the bus and stopped at every bus stop behind the bus.
That doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me. He's a real character.
Paul Curry.
That's the tee shot I'm talking about on 8. It's a tricky tee shot. He seems to be quite happy with it, yeah. Hit it right up the middle. It's only a wedge or a sand wedge, maybe possibly a small 9 iron from there.
Had a great performance in the European Masters at Cron.
Yeah, he did, yeah. That Martin Rowley I just spoke about, he's a real character. He's a chairman of the Caddies Association on tour, and he's also public school boy. He's well educated, and he speaks with the proper Queen's English, and he's a real character.
Maybe gone are the days of when the caddies wore flapping Macintoshes. Max Faulkner's caddy used to be dressed like that. Sunison, good putt from him. There's this 9th hole. Paul, would you like to take us through it?
Yeah, as I say, it's a tough hole. The fairway slopes left to right and the green slopes left to right. I think they've put a new tee box in there. It seems to be a new started area at the back there. You're driving just to about where we are now, and from there you're probably hitting a 4, 5 iron, 3 iron. Yes, I hit yesterday into the wind. As I say, Morocco's missed it on the right side there, and the pin is sort of back right, so he doesn't have a very difficult bunker shot, but you don't really want to miss it left when the pin is left. It's very slick from left to right.
Do they put a lot of the pins on the final day here close to the front of the greens?
They put a few yesterday. This hole I'm talking about yesterday, I hit a 3-iron right down the stick yesterday. It was only on about 8 yards yesterday into the wind, and I pitched it 6 inches short of the green and ended up 50 yards from the pin.
Cut to close-up of Rocca's face, please. Not too emotional. Well, I get a bit of a shake of the head anyway.
I won't be too happy with it, really. It's, as I say, it wasn't a very difficult bunker shot, and he left himself an 8-footer there for par.
Yeah, I noticed walking around the course that a lot of the greens, if you do come up short, there is a big slope.
Yeah, there's quite a few. The second green is the same. I did it today, and the second green too. I pitched it, I mean, not even a yard short of well, actually pitched it on the front edge, and I ended up with a 30-yard pitch. There's a lot of them are raised up, and they shaved the front of the greens, and that's why the ball rolled back so far. 17. I'm sure you'll see later, 17 is just a nightmare anywhere short of that green's in the water.
Well, apparently they have added an inch to the front fringe of topsoil, so the ball won't spin into the water if you land on the green. They've built a little tiny ridge at the front of it. Yeah, so I was told this morning. But if you hit one in there tomorrow and it spins into the water, don't come to me.
That's a nice shot, Paul. He's a good, very good wedge player. That's basically all he was playing. As I say, it's one of the holes in the front line. You get your tee shot away, you're looking for birdie.
Almost spinning back into his pitch mark. Yeah, I was playing in a pro-am on Tuesday at Killarney with Gary McNeil, who you know, the former Irish international. And he was lining up a putt on the 14th green at Killarney, just about to hit it. And a deer ran across the green, across his line, leaving hoof prints on his line. What is the ruling?
Oh, God. Oh, God. I don't know. I won't dare to say, but I'm sure somebody will ring in and tell us.
Well, John Paramore reckons he's allowed to repair the damage.
Right.
But how many people carry one of those handy hoof print repairers?
Yeah.
Stephen Ames, remarkable performance from him, of course, at the Oxfordshire in what was close to being a twister on the last day.
Yeah, certainly. It was all week.
Must be wonderful to play in conditions like this, and you can see why so many players tempted to go to America and play the tour there. They get weather like this most of the time.
Well, they've had a lot of bad weather there this year too. We've been very unlucky in Europe this year. This is my 5th year on tour. This is by far been my worst year for weather on tour. We've just had so many rain delays and tournaments cut short. It's been dreadful, but this week has been fantastic. We've had little or no wind all week, and we've had glorious sunshine, except for a bit of fog delay yesterday.
Oh, cracking shot from Pádraig Harrington, who holed out yesterday the 3rd with a 7-iron for his first professional hole-in-one. It says bogey putt. I'm not sure. I think it might have been for a par, but anyway, disappointment all round for Costantino, who is lying 4th in the Volvo ranking, with Montgomery, of course, having secured his 4th successive Order of Merit title at the German Masters. Ian Woosnam, who was being looked at this morning by Bill Ferguson and then shot 69, so a good performance from Woosnam, one of the early starters. The players going out in order of yesterday's scoring in the 2nd round, very much as in the Masters. And Andrew Coulthard in 6th place, and amazingly has not yet won a tournament.
Yeah, and Paul Broadhurst too hasn't won. They're the two in the top 10 who haven't won this year. And certainly a very good year not to have won and to amass that amount of money.
Mark McNulty is threatening. He's moved into 6th spot, 1 under par. The immaculate Mark McNulty.
Again, he's a similar type of player to Paul Curry and I'm not surprised to see him up there either. It's a course that really rewards somebody who gets the ball rolling well and who puts well. Obviously, we all have our weeks putting well, but Mark McNulty and Paul Curry put particularly well on fast greens, like we have here. They've been known as fast green putters on tour.
Leaderboard looking a bit like that at Druids Glen and Loch Lomond. Not very many players under par.
Yeah, we've had a few tournaments like that this year. Now we've had a few which have been the opposite. Darren won in Germany with 24 under. So we've had a mixed bag this year.
Seems to be a German tree at Nippenberg as well. Woosnam.
Yeah.
Many under.
That's right. Apparently in just watch Ames putt. He's putting straight down the hill there. Just missed. Apparently in Germany, the greenkeepers have got trouble. They can't, because the Green Party is such a strong party in Germany, they can't use fertilizers as liberally as they could use them in the rest of Europe. So as a result, you don't get a lot of rough in Germany. Plus this year we've played in Germany, we've had perfect weather every time. We've had no wind, except for Munich, which has rained out. The other 3 tournaments were no wind and played quite soft, and as I say, not much rough, and that's why the scoring was so good.
Yeah, exactly what I said.
Paul Curry, 1 shot clear then of the overnight leader, Stephen Ames. Andrew Oldcorn, who almost won the Irish Open this year, but for a rather disastrous 6 at the last. He's up there as well. Andy Oldcorn, we have one thing in common. We've both suffered from ME.
Yeah.
There you are. Yes, the only thing we have in common. Good putt. I can see what you mean, that the green's spiking a little bit.
Yeah, they do spike just a little bit in the afternoon. This morning, though, they were fantastic. But the bent grass on the greens, they are prone to spike a little bit in the afternoons. So. But they're not too bad. I mean, obviously we can't tap down spike marks, but they're not too bad. Overall, the condition of the course here is absolutely immaculate.
Harrington hit an immaculate second shot into the 10th, and that's a great birdie. And he moves to 2 under par. This 11th hole, Paul, plenty of sand down the right-hand side, and the fairway cambers that way as well, does it?
Yeah, it hasn't been on in 2 all week. I don't know of anybody who's hit it on in 2 all week. The fairway slopes hard left to right. Even if you pitch it up in the rough on the left-hand side there, it'll come back into that bottleneck. And from there, you hit a 3-wood up over these bunkers you can see on the left-hand side, and leave yourself a pitch, 50, 60, 70-yard pitch. I don't know of anybody who's been on the green in 2, but I know in the past there has been, but not this week.
At this very tough par 3 12th hole, Jose Caceres. And again, showing how difficult it is to control the ball out of that rough around the greens.
He had an awkward stance there too, hadn't he? As I say, the greens are firm too, which makes it difficult to chip onto.
Harrington at 11 yesterday here. Colin Montgomery hit an alarming snap hook off the tee and was lucky to bounce out of the bougainvillea, the flowering shrubs that are in bloom at this time of the year. And just emphasising there what Paul was saying about the slope of the fairway. A couple of times yesterday, Porrick missed the fairways right, 16 and 18, and the fairways were sloping so much away from him he couldn't actually chip back onto the fairway. He chipped right the way through the rough of the far side again.
Yeah, that's some of the fairways I like that. Yeah, you miss it on the wrong side. Fairways are like the greens, you miss them on the wrong side, you can't hit them.
Caceres dropping a shot. There's 8 players under par. Frank Nobilo, Paul, has had for the last couple of seasons, has performed particularly well in the major championships.
He has, he certainly has. There's a super shot somebody's hit in there before, Frank. He's performed very well. I think really he's going to win a major soon. He's contending a lot of times. Every time he plays, he seems to be in contention in a major. And he obviously plays tough golf courses very well. And that's why I'm not surprised to see him playing well here this week.
Frank Noblo's playing with Ian Pyman, the former British amateur champion. So he's hit that, looks like, tee shot into well, almost stone dead. It looks like Rocca was in trouble at the ninth. He has taken 6 there, so the caption was right. A double bogey for him to reach the turn in 37. Back to Carl Sunison. Out in 34, Sunison, for the 2nd day in a row. And has birdied 11, parred 10 and 12. And has hit an exceptional lag putt there. We were talking earlier about rookies and how well they've done. What about this fella Tiger Woods? Have you seen much of him?
No, last night was the first time I've seen him on TV. I saw him at the British Open, the Players' Lounge, and that. I didn't actually see him hit shots, but it's extraordinary what he's been doing. Apparently, the length that he hits the ball is just colossal. He's certainly one to watch. I know the crowds in it have been huge in America the last few weeks. They're all out to watch him, so it's been a good boost for their tour.
Montgomery 3 over par. Not the sort of guy to give up easily. I remember, certainly as we look at the leaderboard, Paul Curry now is 2 shots clear of Stephen Ames. We'll talk more about Monty after this break. Welcome back to the Volvo Masters at Valderrama. Live action from round 2. Jose Caceres sizing up his 2nd shot to 13. Paul McGinley is alongside me, the Austrian Open champion. And again, a hole where placement is so important.
Yeah, it's a tight tee shot. I hit 3 wood there this morning and 7 iron. Some guys hit 1 iron, some guys even hit driver, but it's very, very tight if you take driver. 3's left and 3's right, and the fairway slopes left to right, so you can roll in behind the 3 in the right very easy. There's a 3 just off the side of the fairway, but he's hit in the perfect position here. The back of that green actually gets very narrow, pin high now, left and right, and not a lot of room. Short of the pin, there's quite a bit of width. But where the pin is now, there's not a lot of room left and right, maybe 15 feet, 20 feet each side of the pin. So I hit a 7 iron, as I say, in there today, and I pulled up the terrible shot. Pitching that big 3 left of the green and bounced right on back onto 20 feet. That was a good break. I've had plenty of bad ones, but that was a real good break again. Yeah,
you were saying that you'd put 78 yesterday, and you didn't play much different to today, really.
Not really, no. Yesterday, just everything went wrong. Really, it's just an awful day, a terrible week for it to happen. And as I say, I'm scrambling now to try and save what I can out of the week.
Paul Curry trying to draw that one back.
Yeah, there's a 3 in the left side of the fairway there. He might have been stuck behind it. He might have to try and draw it around.
Stephen Ames, who has been to see a sports psychologist on the advice of his wife to try and curb his temper tantrums. He hasn't played much in the last few weeks, says he's been out for a couple of social 9 holes and hasn't played much golf, and then he comes out and plays like this on a tough golf course.
Yeah, that's great. It just shows you the strength of the mind if the mind is in the right place.
I think he's a bit upset too that himself and his brother have not been selected for the Trinidad and Tobago World Cup team. They've picked a couple of locals who play all their golf at home.
Oh, really?
And doesn't give them much chance of doing very well, I wouldn't think.
This is Padraig on his pitch in 11, as I say. Everybody's really got 50, 60, 70-yard pitch. He's very good from this distance. This is really the strongest part of his game is 70 yards in. Obviously, he's very good the rest, but from 70 yards in, he's very, very strong. And I won't be surprised at all to see him hit it close here. Pin today is on about, I'm not sure, it's about 14 on from 14 on 4 from the left. Could be a mistake.
Not bad from memory.
Yeah, it is.
Harrington in the Irish World Cup team, that taking place at Arranvale in Cape Town in November. Darren Clark also on the side. Paul Curry, 2 shots clear of Stephen Ames. Ames 1 over for today's round. It's actually some very interesting names, Paul, at the top of this leaderboard. Curry, Ames, Oldcorn, Sunison. Some that you mightn't, well, they've all won tournaments, but you mightn't expect, maybe looking more to a Monte or something like that.
Yeah, it just shows you the strength and depth of the tour. I think personally the tour is getting stronger and stronger every year. The scoring tells me he was 500, cut was 500 in the German Open this year, which is extremely low on a golf course that was 7,000 yards long, by no means a pitch and putt course. So the strength is getting the strength of the tour is getting stronger every year. Every week it seems to be different guys up there, except for Monty, of course, and Woozy.
Yeah. Gordon Sherry has come through the first qualifying stage on the second stage of qualifying in the European Tour, and he had a few problems this year, quite a few invites, but bad health, I think.
Yeah, he's been a bit unfortunate because he played so well as an amateur, and as a result, when he turned pro, there was a huge big media circus around him, a lot of expectation on him. And whereas Paulding turned pro with low profile and went and got his card, low profile as I said, and come on the tour and being strong. And Gordon had to do it differently. He had to do it with a full circus around him, the media circus and the pressure, and that makes it a lot more difficult. But he's got through the first stage, so now hopefully he can get through the second stage and get on the tour next year.
He was sort of the Tiger Woods of Great Britain.
Yeah, it just hasn't worked out. He's had a few health problems too this year. It just hasn't worked out for him. But get in. Just misses.
Well, he formed such a crucial foursomes pairing with Jody Flanagan in the Walker Cup at Royal Porthcawl, which we won. He always hits shots with his tongue out.
Yeah,
what is that about? Every shot.
He's always done that. As long as I've known him, he's always done that. Even his driver, he does it in his driver.
There is an Irish player actually whose a photograph was taken of him at impact, exactly at impact, and his eyes were shut. Jimmy Hegarty.
Shut.
Yeah.
Stop playing Jimmy.
Well, with his eyes closed, yeah.
I did a charity thing for the blind a couple of weeks ago, the week of the European Open. I played 3 holes blindfolded, and I tell you what, it was the most difficult thing. Most difficult thing you can imagine.
I've done it actually. They had the World Blind Championships at Donegal Golf Club, and I tried it for a couple of holes, and it was amazing. And actually, I was playing with 3 blind guys, and I hit a shot off the first tee, and one of the blind guys, an American, said to me, I thought very funny, he said, "That's the worst swing I've ever heard." I like that. The series 1 under par. Harrington.
That must have been his chip
2
shot.
under.
That was a real good chip shot if it was.
Yeah, because he was buried greenside. Paul Curry leads by 2. Thanks to Paul McGinley, has to shoot off. We'll be back. Hello again, Mark Robson here at Valderrama, round 2 of the Volvo Masters, and Paul Curry, who leads this tournament after 27 holes, 2 shots clear of Stephen Ames. Paul Curry out on 33. Very good performance, no shots dropped on the front 9, 2 birdies at the 4th and the 8th. And Stephen Ames is 1 over today. And A bit of a disastrous double bogey at the 6th. But hard to go through a week here at Valderrama without at least 1 or 2 double bogeys. Such is the toughness of this course. Great balance there from Ames. But where's it gone? A wee bit left, and lie so important. You can get real big flyers out of the rough here. As Paul McGinley was saying earlier on, the Austrian Open champion has now left me. So I enjoyed his company for the first hour of this live coverage today. Carl Sunison, the Spaniard. And he's staying in touch very well. Much better weather than yesterday, and the forecast is pretty good for the rest of the tournament. We had a lot of fog. The wind we've been talking about, the Levante, seems to have blown away the mist. It's quite humid today, but it's beautiful out there. So 7 players under par now in this elite field. Only the top players in the ranking make it through to this end of season jamboree, a highly prestigious event. Torek Harrington. And he's pulled it right. pulled it right. Pulled it left off the tee, but quite a bit of short grass between him and the flag, thankfully. The green slopes down towards the pin from where he is, off a little bit of a ridge. Roca setting that one off, a very low trajectory, and he's not too far short at this par 5 11th. Don't think I've seen anybody on this par 5 and 2 this week so far. Need to be Arnold Schwarzenegger to get up here, I think. One left at 12, and now one right. Harrington playing with Wayne Westner, and the highlight of the day so far, the 66 from Andrew Olcorn. A bogey-free round, 5 birdies. Played beautifully. Started off birdie at the 2nd, 5th, 8th, a 2 at the 12th, and a 3 at the 18th. Not many birdies at 18, I can tell you. In fact, the 18th yesterday only gave up 5 threes. Olcorn close to victory at the Irish Open at Druids Glen. Look at Roca's second shot. I suspect that was maybe a driver he was hitting. It certainly set off very, very low. Of course, the balls that you and I use reach a high point in their trajectory quite quickly, whereas these Balata balls start off low and their high point is later in the flight. But he certainly hit that one low. And the divots here, quite often when you take a divot, there isn't a flange of grass. The divot seems to explode into a puff of powder. So different type of turf. Bermuda grass on the fairways, Pencross bent on the greens. Ames, and away she goes here at the 10th, slightly uphill. And that's a cracking shot, right on line, and importantly, the right area of the green. Leaves himself with an uphill putt. This morning, a lot of fellas went through the back here and they had all sorts of trouble getting up and down. Hagman took 6, and he was only 20 feet from the flag in 2, but he was in the rough through the green, and he was dead from there. That one just managing to just about hang on. Paul Curry from the ideal position. That's okay. Little valley of sunshine to putt through. So Rocca, no thanks to that 6 at the 9th, has gone back to level par. 2 over for the front side, but this is a birdie opportunity. The 11th is par 5, and he's only maybe 40-50 yards short of the green. Well, obviously with the check, caught the slope, and the usual emotional histrionics from the Italian. I just love close-ups of Rocca. Every shot. Series again, a shot he's used twice now in this round. I thought he was using the blade there to knock that one forward, but I think that's the putter this time. Final 2 ball of the day has now reached the 10th green, and Paul Curry leads by 2 shots out in a pretty much flawless 33. 35 out here, 36 back, par 71. And Curry has this to move 3 shots clear.
Oof.
1994 Jersey Open champion, and who gave the game up for a year and a half in the 80s to train as an accountant. I like Parrick Harrington, in fact. He was 22 under when he won that Jersey Open, a record score. A second round of 62, which was a record, and a final round of 63, and he has also shot 62 at 60 at Gleneagles in the Scottish Open of 92. So not afraid to shoot low scores. And that's important. There are players who, when going well, then become defensive, trying to protect a score and get in with a 68 or 69, but slightly rarer breed who then keep going, being aggressive, attacking the flags, looking for more birdies, taking risks. Bernhard Langer is in with a 69. Level par for the tournament after 36 holes. as is Gary Orr, 72.70. Good putt from Harrington. Great holer out. And he's 2 under par.
Yeah, and that down slope.
Down slope, and there was
wasn't much sand in it, was?
So Rocket, the 11th. His pitch shot pulled up and spun back a bit too much for his liking, but he has got an uphill putt as a result. And thank you very much. Great putt from Rocket. Super stuff. He would have been disappointed walking off this green without a birdie. This is a birdie opportunity. And he goes back into the red numbers. 1 under par, Rocket. Joining McNulty and Kosiris on that number. But the leader here is Paul Curry, 5 under par after 10 holes. This is live coverage from Valderrama, the Volvo Masters. Stephen Ames on his own in second spot at 3 under par. Colin Montgomery, the European #1. Downhill putts always treacherous here. Monty's 3 over. Curry at the 11th. And he's pulled on away. I think he's cleared that first band of shrubbery. Not as far left as Montgomery was yesterday. He duck hooked it into the rubbish. He's okay there. He'll have a difficult stance for a second shot though. Ball below his feet. But there's a fair amount of room ahead and lots of options for the second shot, this being a par 5. His playing partner has 1 over for his round today. Look at that for exceptional camera work. Beautiful shot. Well, that'll run away right, that's roughly where Rocca was off the tee here at 11. There's the 12th, based on an original concept by the Marquis de Sade. .212 yards, smallish target, out of bounds right, which Ballesteros found yesterday on his way to a rather inglorious 6, and that's a super shot from Rocca, and another birdie opportunity, having just rattled in a tram liner at 11th. Stunning day here on the Costa del Sol. On the 15th, Jose Kosiris, Roger Chapman, who set a tough target at the European Open at the K Club, the Smurfit event. A man who has never won on tour and looked for a moment or two as if he might capture the European Open title, but he was overtaken by Johansson. This is another one of these very difficult par 3s at Valderrama. Downhill, 2 or 3 iron. Pin set back right today in the handle of the boomerang. If boomerangs have handles, that is. Maybe you can hold a boomerang at either end. It doesn't make any difference. Must ask Wayne Riley. Things to do. It's on my list. Kosiris, who's 1 under par today, opened obviously then with a 71. The man who's made the greatest move today then is Andrew Olcorn, 74 day 1, 66 day 2. Ian Pyman yesterday had a 1 iron in here. So it's straight-faced metal, whatever it is. Highly individual swing, this series. Self-taught. Oh, that's a good shot, Nate. Acknowledges the ripple of applause. Anything within 20 feet here is a pretty good result. Now, Paul Lowry, he's a 1 over par. So he's not going quite so well today.
Line.
Curry is, on the other hand. Well, I thought the ball would have been below his feet from that lie, but it looked like a fairly flat area. That's okay. Seems to be lying all right. Maybe just a little bit more difficult to judge the way the ball will behave from the rough, but he hasn't got too far to go. Par 5, of course. Harrington at 13. Positioning off the tee, very important here. Harrington's found the rough, but I'm pretty sure he had a clear view of the green from where he was. Dead on line. Here was the ball just an inch or two above his feet. Long par 5 this is. Not getting up on 2, but he's played a fine shot, and that's in perfect spot. Into that little funnel just short of the green. Paul Lowry he dropped a shot at the 10th. He was out in 37, couple over, and he's 3 over for his round today. He's off to Florida on the 5th of December to see David Ledbetter, right to the academy out there to do a bit of work. He's had a good season though, played well at Wentworth in particular when he had a great ball striking 4 days. Rocca from Bergamo in Italy. Mark McNulty there in the clubhouse with a 69. Birdies at 16 and 17 for McNulty. Rocca. And once more you can see that the value of leaving yourself with an uphill putt, as he has done in the last 2 greens. And even though you may be further away from the hole, you've maybe more chance of getting it in. If you finish above the hole, even 4, 5, 6 feet away, the natural tendency is to be tentative because you can roll it 3, 4 feet past without any problem whatsoever, especially if the ball lips out, which is inclined to sort of sling the ball merrily on its way and almost accelerate it. Montgomery, well, Bill Ferguson yesterday, although he's not maybe just doing that much coaching with Monday at the moment, reckoning that tiredness is taking its toll on the Scotsman this year. He's won the Order of Merit and nothing more to prove this season. Hard mentally to keep going. Even for a man of Montgomery's incredible fortitude. This par 5, 17th, which lies ahead for Curry et al.
Ball looking to be sitting pretty much perfectly. His third shot to this par 5. And that's a good shot. Getting a bit of action out of the ball, even though he was in the rough. Made a nice, clean, sweet contact. Sunnison to one of the smaller greens on the course. Certainly in terms of width. That's a cracking shot from Sunnison. And what a good round he's put together today. 1 under for the tournament, 71 yesterday. So there is Spanish interest at the top of the leaderboard here in Spain on the Costa del Sol. Stephen Ames, the overnight leader, leaves him with a downhill putt. And it's a quick one. So moving ahead to the 15th, and Jose Caceres has missed his birdie opportunity. We saw him hitting a fine long iron in here. So missed putt and a few sighs perhaps from his 10 brothers and sisters back in Argentina. Entirely self-taught, this man. That's a good-looking. Well, never up, never in. One of the old golfing cliches. And even though I've said it, I hate it. Hate it. People say, it's in play, hate that. That's a worker, hate that. Snow on that one. You wouldn't ask me to putt that, would you? I hate all those. The pin at 17 today is cut in, well, it's not exactly a hollow, but sort of a one-sided valley. It's obviously a contradiction in terms, but I think you get the picture. Paul McGinley, when he was with me earlier on, the Austrian Open champion for the first hour of this coverage, saying that it is very difficult to judge pitch shots out of the green side rough, and Colin Montgomery just proving the point there. Ames for a birdie at 11. I think this will be pretty slick. Maybe a touch low, right to left. Yeah, well, not one that he would want to get framed. That putt. Now Sunnison, after that glorious second shot to 16, with a chance to move within 3 shots of the lead. Not the Spaniard you would have expected to be challenging here at the start of the week, with Martin and Jimenez in such good form from this country. Yeah, absolutely no doubt. He was picking the ball out of the hole almost as he'd hit it. And there he is on page 1 of the leaderboard with Old Corn and Harrington. But it's Paul Curry who's in front, and he can stretch that lead here Oh, well hold. I thought it was going to slip away and dribble down the hill at the last minute. Not a flicker of emotion as he moves. 3 shots clear of the field, 6 under par. And this beast of a course. Wonderfully well judged putt. And just here I thought it was going to nip to the right, and he just caught enough of the hole, and that's another birdie for Paul Curry. Second shot to 13 for Rocca, and down the right-hand side, that tree may cause him a problem. It's a shortish iron in, so he can get enough height quickly enough for the short iron to get over the top of that. And a missed club. Par 5, 17th, which in the Ryder Cup will be a fascinating hole, I'm sure. A reachable, just about reachable par 5 with water short, so expect much drama in the 1977 match with the Americans. 300 yards from the tee. There's a little ribbon of rough there, you can just see it. So if you hit your Sunday best, you find that. And some players think it's a little bit unfair. And off a good drive, you do have the option. Go for the green over the water. Excuse me. Last year, quite a few shots that finished on the green spun back into the water, but they've built a little ridge this year on the fringe, which prevents that from happening. And Russell Clayton has eagled that hole. 1 under par. He's on the leaderboard. He's looking good, Big Russell. Sunison on the tee, fresh from a birdie.
That's bigger than normal. What's this saying about?
Well, I think he's hit an absolute perler right down the middle. That's 300 yards, and the result is he's found that little band of rough that I was talking about. But if he gets a good lie, he can give it a rip from there for the green. Excellent round of golf out in 1 under. And 4 shots behind leader Curry. Series at 16, the fairway here, tending towards that side of the fairway. Keeps his head down well, Cosiris. Ball is well away before he lifts his eyes, and textbook stuff from the Argentinian. Fine second shot. Pin cut close to the front of the green today, as you can see. It's Harrington at the 14th, this elevated green. Quite a climb up to the green, I can tell you. Did it this morning. Bit of a cardiac hill. He's played a good shot, though. That's in good shape. Very, very difficult golf course, this. And this is probably, possibly, certainly the toughest par 3 in the course, and maybe the most difficult of them all.
Get right, baby.
Your leader, it's left. That's okay, just about. Quite a steep bank in the front of this green. Just managing to creep over the brow. Ames, who has been to see a psychologist, sports psychologist, about temper tantrums. All goes back to childhood, you know. Bit of an amateur sports psychologist myself, you see. That's a fine tee shot. Anything on the green here really is good stuff. In your absence, Jose Caceres has birdied the 16th and is 1 under par. One of 8 players in the red numbers. Colin Montgomery's 4 over par. No cut here to worry about, by the way. All the players play 72 holes. Europe's number 1 with a cracking approach shot and leaves an uphill putt. Now at the 17th, Carl Sunison has hit a great second shot from that rough in the middle of the fairway onto the green. Roca. Positional tee shot. 14th is 370 yards long. It's not a hugely long par 4, but uphill all the way for the second shot. Sixteenth tee. Novolo. Level par yesterday, level par today.
Yeah.
And cries of yep and beauty. And that is absolutely perfect. Precision so important round here. Anything remotely offline and you have problems. Curry, after that putt at 11, crept in through the right-hand side door. Is 3 shots ahead. Bernhard Langer, former winner, he's going well now. 73.69. Seems to have abandoned the broom handle putter and has gone back to the strange clamp-like grip that he has employed previously. And Monty misses. Four over par. And that's how the Big Scot finishes. This for an eagle at 17. We've had one today from Russell Clayton, but well, should make 4. I don't use the words tap it on this course, on these greens, unless the ball is virtually dangling over the lip. Stephen Ames, he had an unhappy experience of this course the first time he played it, but he's certainly enjoying it a lot more this time, and he needed that. That gets the momentum going again, perhaps. He's 4 under par, that's the way he started. And just occasionally, when a putt goes in, long putt goes in, it just kick-starts the round again and improves the mood. Gordon Brand Jr., who
Red.
had a good score yesterday, but still reckoned he wasn't playing that well. He's blamed too many coaches. He calls them spanners, as in getting in the works. A well holed out. And a brave birdie at 17. Having hit an absolute, well, a perler off the tee of all of 300 yards. Sunison complaining about that bit of rough that he found his ball in, that it's ridiculous to have a bit of rough right in the middle of the fairway, 300 yards from the tee. So that's caused a bit of controversy here. Paul Lowry, well, things have fallen apart really for him today. He took 6 at the 12th, as did Seve yesterday. A treble bogey for him, but a birdie at 13. But he's still 5 over today. 14th hole at Valderrama. As you have seen from Rocca, an iron off the tee into position, and then the big climb up the hill, hoping to avoid that bunker short, which is very, very deep. Rocker from the perfect spot. Oh, and a great shot. If the second bounce had been on the green, that would surely have spun back very close, but the little bit of fringe there, taking the spin and the sting out of the ball as it attempted to slip itself into reverse gear. Series whippy hand action. Now, luckily the steepness of the bank at the back of that bunker has allowed the ball to roll back. I was saying yesterday, if you ripped a wooden club in there and it's stuck halfway up that bank on the fly in the bunker, it could be there for eternity. Cracking approach from Nobilo. Plenty of birdies at this hole today. 16, one of the easier on the course. None of them are easy, I stress. There's Roger Chapman at the 17th, and he's going for it as well. Once again, beautiful camera work. No, that's okay. If there is a bailout area at 17, that's it. Means though he has to pitch across the green, and it's a fast down slope towards the hole. Rocker for a birdie at 14, and that's not in. Much clicking of fingers, slapping of thighs. Rocker, who was second at the K Club tournament, he looked like winning. Needed to birdie the last to get into a playoff with Johansson, but was only able to par it. Yeah, Stephen Ames, his first visit here in 1993, shot 80, 79, 75 and withdrew. Couldn't hack the greens, he said. good shape at 13 off the tee. Hasn't played very much golf lately, but the rest has done him good, it seems. Playing with Paul Curry. 1:53 to go. Maybe a touch left. And a club short. Rocker coming back up the hill at 14 for a par. Crowd's enjoying the sunshine here today. Perfect conditions. The course in perfect condition too. Yes, the fly's a problem. I have a few in the commentary box here, and I don't think they've arrived in to listen to me. Does have an Achilles heel rocker. It's from that distance. So Curry stays 2 shots clear of Stephen Ames, who birdied the 12th. This brutal par 3, and that's the way it looks here in Valderrama. You're looking at Jose Coseri's magnificent bunker shot from the back of the 17th green. Had to carry a little valley, and then it was all downhill, and he landed the ball almost in the perfect spot. He's given himself a birdie putt. As is Stephen Ames at 13. Roger Chapman, who you saw earlier playing his second shot to the right of the 17th green, playing with Jose Coseri. He's given himself a birdie putt too, as you would expect from there. Safe side of the green at 17 is right, pin high right. Oh, look at this for a putt. That looks another couple of rolls. That's of the ball, not for breakfast. Though it might have helped. He stays though at 4 under par after 13 holes. Carl Sunesson is 3 under today and for the tournament. Represents a pretty good score. Paul Curry also 3 under for today's round, and this to stay that way. Lee Westwood in with back-to-back rounds of 71 level par. Greg Turner 72-70 level par. Gary Orr 72-70 level par, and Bernhard Langer 73-69 level par in this brutally tough Valderrama course. I played a hard course on Tuesday, the clean course at Killarney, which I brought to his knees, shooting a round of approximate round of 94, completing the last with a ball that had a red stripe round it. Shows how many I lost. Now Brand Jr. at 14. This for a birdie. It's uphill. He can be positive. He's well, what's happened to him today? Was out in 39, 4 over, bogeyed the first and second. Not a good start. Also bogeyed 10 and 12. So no birdies so far. Harrington to move into joint third spot. And cries of sit, but that's okay. Back in the 14th tee. Interesting leaderboard. You have to go down to 6th spot before you would find what would be recognised as a really big name. That's Mark McNulty. Bernard Langer in 9th spot, joined 9th on level par. Frank Nobilo on that mark as well. Wayne Riley and Darren Clark included in the group on 1 under. As is Rocca now, having missed that short putt at 14. Raymond Russell is in. He's 2 over. Remember, he's fighting for that Rookie of the Year spot with Padraig Harrington and Thomas Bjorn. Bjorn's 3 over, so that battle within a battle reaching boiling point. Certainly will over the weekend.
Hanging on, guys.
Now, Sinneson's had a problem of some description at the 18th, and is this for a par? Oh, very close, but Sinneson drops a shot. But it's still an excellent score from Sinneson. 71-69, 2 under par total, and he'll be playing in one of the final groups tomorrow, no doubt about that. Jim Payne's 3 over, and don't think he's too happy with that swing. And he'll do well. Well, he's got a fair bit of green to work with there. Depends on the lie. I think it's in the bunker. Jim Payne, who was out in 37, started back 5-6-4, bogey, bogey, bogey. Rocca now, can he stop the bleeding? 2 bogeys in a row. He spins away and has left himself with a difficult bunker shot. Saving grace is that it's uphill to the hole from where he is. Certainly the green slopes that way. Nobilo at 17. There's bunkers behind it. Look a bit like Mickey Mouse's ears, and nothing Mickey Mouse about that shot. Or his golf this year. He's played very well, especially in the majors. Paul McGinley, who was assisting me in commentary earlier on, was paying him great compliments, reckoning that he will win a major at some stage. Every chance. Harrington at 16. Now here yesterday, let it go away right into the rough. He was further right yesterday. It's quite tight down that right-hand side. In terms of access to the green. Ames has made a steady recovery from that double bogey at the 6th. Birdies at 7 and 12. And a good shot, great shot. Downhill putt. It's a fine second shot from Paul Curry. An uphill putt for him. Hard to stress enough the importance of getting the ball in the right area in these greens to give yourself an uphill putt, or at least a flat putt, as much as possible. Get above the hole and you have some curling horrors ahead. Now Jim Payne has found a horrible spot. So settle down into a little hole. Not caused by a burrowing animal, it would seem. Play it as it lies, and well, he really can't tell how this is going to come out of here. It is a hit and hope shot. No, and he's done well. Now that is a very, very accomplished shot from there. Controlled down just about as well as he could. But Jim Payne hasn't had a great afternoon. Needs that to stop himself from recording a 4th bogey of the back 9. Up on the hilltop, 14th green. Curry and Ames, the final 2 ball on the course in this second round of the Volvo Masters from Valderrama, the 9th Volvo Masters. Next year the venue will change, with the Ryder Cup being held here, and the initial thoughts are that they'll still keep the tournament on the Iberian Peninsula. This course, so you can see Morocco on a very clear day, Gibraltar, Rock of Gibraltar close by, and Marbella and Fuengirola, Torremolinos, Benalmádena, whatever one it is close by too. On that rather frightening Malaga road. We came in from the airport a couple of days ago in the fog, and it was under the same or similar conditions that Robert Allenby suffered that horrendous car crash when he hit a roundabout at about an estimated 60 miles an hour. And it is a notorious stretch of tarmac for accidents. The road of death, they call it, and Allenby was lucky enough to get out of it alive. Of course, he played one shot here yesterday and picked up, well, should pick up a cool 70-odd grand for that, and he's donated whatever he wins in terms of the bonus pool straight to 2 cancer charities. Well, that deserved to drop. He played the hole perfectly. Great position off the tee. Left it on the upslope with his second. No, Novelo pulled that. Not very happy, is he? Harrington, did that clip a leaf or two on the way through? Not sure if that's his ball. I think that's it to the right-hand side, and that's okay. It's okay. He made an amazing 4 here yesterday. Cut his tee shot, hacked it out, crossed the fairway, rough on the other side, not a great lie. Played a great 3rd shot to about 15 feet, hold the putt. And on the card, it goes down as a 4, a highly eventful one it was, I have to say. Now Ames for a birdie, no. And Ames stays 2 shots back of Curry, who leads on 6 under par. First day leader. Up ahead of the 18th, 36th hole for Jose Caceres for a par 4, smoothly done. And Caceres in the clubhouse on 1 under par, round of 70 to follow his 71 of yesterday, and a nice finish, birdie at 16. Good round, back soon. Wayne Westner shaving the hole there. The tournament, the Volvo Masters, is led here, coming towards the end of round 2 at Valderrama, by Paul Curry of England, who's 6 under par and 2 shots clear of Stephen Ames from Trinidad and Tobago. There is the man in second spot, Stephen Ames. He's only played a couple of social 9 holes in the last little while. Paul Curry
must be tired carrying that thing around.
Made a good start to the season. He's had 2 top 10s in the first tournament, and then at the European Masters at Cron. Now Harrington, this is for a par. He pushed his tee shot a bit. I think his second shot caught a couple of leaves on one of the cork trees that abound on this course, and then a pitch shot that had to be delicate down the slope was too delicate and caught the fringe. And yesterday he made a miracle for this hole, but not today. Beautiful conditions today for the golfers. Warm, autumnal sunshine on probably Europe's toughest course. A light breeze from the Havante wind. East wind. Yesterday was pretty miserable. It was dank and foggy and wet for a good part of the day, certainly in the morning. Never fully cleared away, but this is superb this afternoon. Lying on a deck chair on the beach in Marbella wouldn't be a bad option. Harrington 1 under par, dropping a shot there, but still staying in 5th place on the leaderboard. Joining McNulty. Harrington just outside the top 10 in the Volvo rankings. Won, of course, by Colin Montgomery for a 4th year in a row. And equaling the record of my colleague Peter Oosterhuis, who's here this week commentating for the Golf Channel with an old friend of Eurosport, Steve Beddoe. They say the greens here are as silky as Steve Beddoe's delivery, but Rocca from position A. And that should spin back, and that could, well, it was close to going in, and that's stone dead, virtually stone dead from Rocca. An up and down sort of a round from him. Aims to the boomerang shape, 15th green. Pin cut in a difficult spot. Oh, and that's away right. And he's got an impossible second shot. Pin at 15, 9 paces from the right. 27 on. Boomerang shape, kidney shape. Call it what you will. But a cunning little par 3. I'm sure on members' days here there aren't that many balls, 1 in the 2s club. Only 8 players under par. Paul Curry has a 2-shot lead on Ames, but then he's got a 4-shot lead on Old Corn and Sunison in 3rd spot, and he's 5 clear of McNulty, Clayton, Cosiris and Harrington, who are all 1 under par. And all of those players in terms of the top 8 players, all but 3 are in the clubhouse. Well, it's not a great tee shot, but he's more chance of making par than Ames has. Old Corn 66 today, best of the day, best of the week, 74.66. You see what I mean by whenever you take an impact here, the turf seems to explode. Now the par 5. Birdie hole certainly, but anything can happen here. It's a very good par 5. Now that goes too far, it'll reach the rough. No, just holds up in time. Perfect tee shot, great tee shot. Ryder Cup standings, Colin Montgomery leads that. Thomas Bjorn in 2nd spot. And 2 Spaniards in the top 10. The tournament will be held, or the event will be held, the match will be held in Spain next year, here at Valderrama, of course. Darren Clark, the German Masters champion, who's 1 over par for this tournament, steadily collecting crucial Ryder Cup points. At the moment, I would say that the United States team, if those were the two teams, looks the stronger. But a lot will happen before the team is picked towards the end of next season. Phil Mickelson, part of the US team that won the Dunhill Cup at St Andrews. Mark O'Meara and Steve Stricker in that team as well, and they showed what competitors they are in Scotland. Steve Stricker made a big impact there. Nobilo has played a quite immaculate pitch shot at 18. Lovely way to finish, especially after that 6 at the 17th when the ball was deposited to a watery grave. And it's a level par 71 for Nobilo. 2 71s, 142. Saw him chatting Nobilo yesterday to a good friend of his, Eddie Jordan, who runs the Jordan Grand Prix team. He had Paul McGinley out as his guest at the French Grand Prix. Now Harrington, 17. The green's on. He says terrible. Now, will it gather and roll into the water? Yeah. He wouldn't have had to hit the ball too much further right to be safe. That's where Roger Chapman hit it, up on the right-hand side, the bailout area. And he was okay. Well, Wester, he has no option here but to play safe and lay up. Well, maybe not. Maybe not. And that's a great shot from Westner. Well, from the rough on the right-hand side, you would have thought that he would play for safety, but, well, he's given it a rip and it's paid off for him. Didn't pay off yesterday for too many players here. Seve stuck one on the water. Harrington's gone in from the perfect position. Of course, Westner, one of the strongest players on tour. Costantino is level par. Having just tapped in for a birdie at 16, you'll have seen his tremendous second shot there. Stone dead. Shrubbery fluttering in the light Havante easterly breeze here at Valderrama. Bougainvillea in full flower. But the aroma around this course is one of curry. Paul Curry, who leads by 2 shots. Now Stephen Ames had a very difficult second shot at 15. He's played it well. He was helped by the fact that the green does slope towards him from there. So there wasn't much room to work with. The terrain was to his advantage. Cork trees and olive trees in plentiful supply around this course. Quite a few grew here naturally, and some of them were as old as Columbus himself. Ames, this would be a good up and down. And he really did roll 3 shots into 2 there. Again, if you miss the green, and the lie is so important on this course because the rough is quite bushy in places and comparatively bare in others. Now Harrington has to drop here, having had a second shot into the water at 17.
Should we try and get around the tree?
The pin's in quite a friendly spot today, but I was actually out on this green early morning having a look at some of the lines as Paul Curry taps in. Well, taps in. I promised you I wouldn't call any putt a tap in on this course unless it was within 3 or 4 inches, but that was as easy a short putt as you can have on this course. Slightly uphill, dead straight, and 6 under par after 15, still leads by 2. John Paramore coming out to have a look at the Harrington situation. I was asking John Paramore this morning about the little rules problem I had at Killarney when a deer ran across the green between ball and hole, and he said yes, you're allowed to repair the damage, he feels. Harrington was involved in a rules controversy earlier in the season at Druids Glen when a young lad scampered up a tree to retrieve his ball at the 14th Druids. And there was quite a long delay there as Harrington sought a decision. It worked out okay for him. Only dropped the 1 shot at that particular hole. And needs to get up and down now here at 17 to save par. As you can see, he's got a big, this has to be hit quite a bit right of the hole. He's got a big mound and slope to come round and down, and very difficult to get the ball close from that spot. And the result of his courage in going for the green looks likely now to be at least 1 dropped shot. Good score from Wayne Riley today. 73 yesterday, 70. A good tough course player is Riley. Doesn't like easy courses, he says. Prefers the ultimate challenge of somewhere like Valderrama. Remember, he won Scottish Open round Carnoustie, and you can't get much tougher than that in terms of links courses. Also set a course record this year, Riley, at Druids Glen, another very difficult layout. Yes, at 17. Yeah, I was telling you earlier on that I was on the screen this morning, and they were choosing the pin position for tomorrow. And I can give you a sneak preview and tell you that it's going to be cut very close to the front of the green in an absolutely horrible spot. And if your ball finishes above the hole, slightly right of the flag, as a lot will tomorrow, unless the ball hits the hole, it's impossible, I would say. And I'll take money on it tomorrow to leave the ball short of the hole. Harrington for a par. And a shot slips away. 2 under yesterday, Parrig. Podrig. Talk about buried elephants on greens. It looks like they've buried Orca, the killer whale, on this one. That's a great hole, great par 5. I like a par 5 that tempts. Nice coming over Orca there. And that's what happens. Big slope in the middle of this green. Wayne Westner, one of the longest hitters about. Another pretty good tough course player. Bernhard Langer today had a 69. Better golf from him. Didn't manage to keep a 6 off his card, but managed to punctuate with plenty of birdies, 3 in the front 9. And a gentle journey home, back in 36. And he's in the hunt, very much in the hunt. And he's trying to keep that long record going of winning a tournament. I think it's the last 17 seasons he's won a tournament. I'll check that for you. Give me a moment. Yes, Langer has won at least one title in Europe for each of the last 16 years, which is a record. Disappointing for Westner there. After the shot he hit into the green. An iron, shows how long he is. An iron he hit for a second shot to 17 from the rough, and on she popped. Harrington from the perfect position in the middle of the fairway, knocked it into the water, didn't hit a good second shot by his own admission. Oof, tell you what, that just went in. So Harrington goes back to level par, and we'll be back live in a mo. You're watching Costantino Rocca, the closing stages of the second round of the Volvo Masters. Rocca has hit that right now. Will this trickle down into the water, or will it grip? Oh, you know, it might go into the water. Watch this, watch that. That grass is cut very, very tight. So nothing Padraig Harring can do, I can do. Rocca finishing where the Irishman was just but a moment ago. On the 18th, Harrington, after the disappointment of that dropped shot. Now, you really do have to put the ball into the perfect position here off the 18th tee. He might be just a little bit too far right, even though he's on the fairway. We shall see. There's a tree in the way, potentially. 16th that gave Harrington so much trouble yesterday and today. He went right yesterday into those trees. You can see now on the right hand side, had to chip it out sideways, and the fairway slopes from right to left quite viciously. And then it's a small enough target, quite a narrow green. The pin was cut at the back yesterday, which was the easier position. Today it's cut front right. Well, we've seen quite a few birdies here, so off a good tee shot, it's an opportunity. And Paul Curry has hit another immaculate iron shot. And that gives him again, and he's hit the ball into the right parts of the greens today, and that gives him again an uphill putt. Rocca in the water at 17. A little bit unfortunate. Came off his second shot somewhat, but not that much. But really, if he's going to hit it right there, he wanted to hit it a long way right and miss-hit it badly, push it badly. Where Jim Payne is, in fact. The further right you go, the less chance there is of the ball gathering pace on that close crop turf and ending up in the water. There you are. It's exactly what Stephen Ames has to do.
Come left.
It's a wee bit right, maybe. Caddy says come left. That's okay. Downhill putt. 16th hole, the wind not really a factor here today. That second shot was a few moments ago. This is for a birdie to move within one shot of the lead. It's a quick putt, this. Beautifully judged from the Trinidadian. Level par today. Well, here's Wayne Westner. Second shot to this final hole, playing with Padraig Harrington. Three top tens in Europe this season from 14 tournaments, so hasn't played that much here. One early in the season in his home country, and that's a great golf shot from Westner. What a way to finish, and leaves himself with the uphill putt too, so every chance of making three here and moving back to 2 over par. Just began the day. Wayne Westner from South Africa on 1 under par, but he's slipped back today somewhat. Rocca. Man of many emotions. He's paying homage to the water. That is going to cost him a shot here, I think. At least one. Now, I knew that tree would be in the way to some extent. How much we are about to discover. Well, he managed to get the ball up quickly enough. A look of intense concentration, and that's a great shot from Harrington. 2 wonderful approaches at this 36th hole. And Harrington a chance to get back into the red numbers. Curry, a good angle to come in from on this green. He is putting well, though. It's giving his putts a chance. They're not going in. They're touching the edge of the hole. Still, the best round of the tournament has been returned by Andrew Oldcorn, who's lying in 3rd spot after that bogey-free 66 today. Probably took him a while to recover after the Irish Open, which he could well have won. He took 6 up the last and really didn't hit all that bad a tee shot at the 72nd at Druids Glen, but found a bad lie in the rough, and after that, well, it was a bit of a disaster, and it certainly emotionally hit him hard. But certainly has hit this course hard today with a 66. 62, the course record, Bernhard Langer, which is amazing right here. Now Rocca. Oh, what a good putt that was. Really was an excellent effort. Not the first man to be punished for going for the green here. And Rocca slips a little bit further back. 3 over today. 1 over for the tournament, and now 7 shots out of the lead. So of the players level par or better in this tournament, only 3 of them have to finish. This is one of them, Padraig Harrington on level par. And the other 2 are the 2 leaders, Curry and Ames. Curry in first place, well, leaders Ames in second spot. But the 2 men at the top of the leaderboard in positions 1 and 2. And from what has happened to the balls of Harrington and the fortunes of Harrington and Rocca on 17, it just emphasises what I was saying about how exciting that hole will be during the Ryder Cup. Very much like the 18th at the Belfry. And the 10th as well. That sort of hole where so much can happen. Padraig Harrington, his fiancée, is here this week. Now this for a birdie. Damage repair on his mind after a 6 at 17. Oh, it's hard to believe that he could leave that short. 73 for Harrington, 69-73, 2 over today. Ames at 17. Didn't get the kick forward, and this another one of the fairways that slopes from right to left quite severely, and that shows you how fast the fairways are. A lot of clubs in the would love to have those fairways as their greens. Bit of deep breathing and thumping of club there from Curry. It doesn't look like a very long tee shot, and obviously it's right. Seemed to sit down in the rough very quickly. You know, it mightn't be a bad thing really, because as you've seen from Rocca and Harrington, off good tee shots, the temptation is to go for the green, and on both occasions it cost Rocca and Harrington a shot. Now Curry, all he can do is lay the ball up short and pitch on, and he could well walk off with a 4. There's the flowering bougainvillea down the right-hand side, as you can see there. A beautiful hole, as all the holes are in this golf course. There's the water that caught Nobilo as well. Missed the green right, that's the bailout. Anywhere else, trouble at mill. Now Westner, an uphill putt. A straightforward putt if there is such a thing on this course. And that's a birdie 3 at the last for Westner. A nice finish, but not a great round. 3 over par today and 2 over for the tournament. Welcome back to Valderrama. Paul Lowry has just birdied the 17th to go back to 1 over for the tournament, but he's still 3 over for today. And this golf course has sucked blood from a few of the contenders this afternoon. Gordon Brand Jr., for example, is 7 over today. Now Rocca having to boomerang one at the 18th around that tree, and he's put himself into a horrible spot. In the bunker, by the looks of things. Rocca dropping a shot at 17, having birdied the 16th. Jim Payne, he's 5 over for his round today too, and I think he's in the same bunker, a little bit further up in it, but with the pin cut so tight to the right, it means that he's going to be faced with a toughie. So Paul Curry has played exceptionally well this afternoon, has rarely been in trouble in terms of keeping the lead. Stephen Ames 2 shots back, those men playing together, and currently on this very exciting 17th hole. Old Corn 66 got him into the clubhouse on 2 under par, and the toughness of the course shown by the fact there are very few players at level par or better. Rocca sliding back in the last few holes. Paul Lowry. Certainly won't get sunburnt today because he's wearing factor 20. I saw him putting it on the practice ground. Sort of interesting information you can be guaranteed that I will bring you on a daily basis. See, it's the Scottish complexion. Brand Jr. is 7 over today. As I mentioned, that looks like a pretty good tee shot. Again, down that right-hand side, the little tree, the little cork tree in the fairway may impede his view, if not exactly interfere directly with the flight of the ball. And there are the 2 men heading things up here at Valderrama in the Volvo Masters round 2. Paul Curry 6 under, Ames 4 under. Here's Curry. Well, 261 to go, so you can easily work out what he's going to do next. That's in good shape. Going to leave himself with a full shot in, probably, with one of his wedges. The 18th at Valderrama, long a par 4, a very good par 4. As you can see, tapers left and then sort of almost doubles back in itself. That overhanging tree on the right-hand side, you can see now in the top right of your picture, does come into play if you don't hit the perfect tee shot. And then it's a raised green. Don't be short with your second, because it'll roll 50 yards back down that slope and leave you with a difficult pitch shot, especially if the pin is cut on the front portion, front quarter of the green. Ames is 2:29 to go, but he is not taking it on. That's fine. Pin well on today. Up on the 18th, Rocca and Payne. Rocca must have played a pretty good bunker shot there. He's left himself with an eminently holeable putt. Up the hill, through the shadows though. Maybe joined on tour by another Italian next year in the pre-qualifying 2 at Panoramica. An Italian has come through. Good putt by Rocca. Well holed, good par, excellent up and down. Gianluca Barufaldi came through at Panoramica, goes through to the final qualifying. But a 74 for Rocca today, and a round of inconsistency and nasty black numbers. Back at the sharp end. Oh, and Curry misjudging that one. He's left himself with a very difficult pitch shot too. And Payne pars. 5 over today though. 3 over for the tournament. 76 for Jim, just the 1 birdie. So Ames from slightly closer to the 17th green. Down and 2 for a birdie. Oh, and that's going to... I was about to say go into the water. It might have gone into the water last year, but they have built a little ridge about 1 inch high at the front of that green there to stop balls that were fired in at the front pin placing from spinning back into the water, which they thought was slightly unfair. So they've built a little tiny collar of topsoil. Laurie at 18. He really is going to have to boomerang this one. This shot will need to adopt the shape of a parabola to find the green. Beautiful, isn't it? Not that easy a putt either, and he's done pretty well. But will be bitterly disappointed that he didn't get the ball closer from where he was. Both players playing pretty scruffy approach shots. It's a difficult shot to judge this. He's in a bit of a swale there. And then it's pretty quick down to the hole from the edge of the green. Now only 7 players under par. 2 of them on the course, the rest are in. Oldcorn, Sunison, McNulty, Claydon and Co-Series on the roll of honour. I can tell you, you deserve to be in a roll of honour if you get round 36 holes on this course under par. That was very close to being a great shot. he's taken quite a bit of time at the 18th. That's okay. From where he was, he had to bend the ball around the tree. And he's given himself a chance to get up and down. Back at 17, Curry and Ames both have tricky putts for par. Not huge crowds here over the first 2 days, but of course tomorrow brings with it the weekend. The lack of really big names at the top of the leaderboard may affect the attendance tomorrow, though. We shall see. A chink. In the Curry Armoury. Shot drop, 5 under par. This tournament of the to-be-seen-at variety, though, so I expect the gold-dripping Spaniards to turn out in their droves tomorrow. There's plenty of them in this area, I can tell you. Stephen Ames is one shot back now with 1 hole to go in the second round.
Yeah.
Well, that's the end of our coverage today from the Volvo Masters at Valderrama. We'll be back tomorrow afternoon, as you can see there, for the 3rd round. Paul Curry leads the tournament at the moment. He's 5 under par with 1 hole to go. 1 clear of Stephen Ames, who's playing with him. They're on the 18th tee. Live action for me, Mark Robson, tomorrow. See you then.
The PGA European Tour was brought to you by Volvo.